The world economy is at a turning point. For nearly a century, the US dollar has been the undisputed king of global finance, symbolizing power, stability, and trust. But today, a coalition of emerging powers, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, known as BRICS, is challenging this dominance. What does this mean for the global financial order? Is the world witnessing the birth of a new economic era? This story is about power, ambition, and a seismic shift that could redefine the rules of the game. The US dollar's dominance isn't just about money, it's about power, influence, and control. Ever since the Bretton Woods Agreement in 1944, the dollar has been at the heart of global trade and finance. The deal pegged major world currencies to the dollar, which was backed by gold at the time. Even after the US abandoned the gold standard in 1971, the dollar maintained its supremacy, thanks to the sheer size and stability of the US economy and its deep financial markets. Today, over 60% of global foreign exchange reserves are held in dollars, and more than 70% of international trade transactions are conducted in the greenback. This dominance has given the United States immense leverage. By controlling the world's reserve currency, the US can print money to finance deficits, impose sanctions that freeze nations out of the global financial system, and wield economic tools to maintain its geopolitical influence. For decades, this system has worked well for the US and its allies, but not so much for everyone else. BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa represent a significant counterbalance to this US-centric financial order. Together, these 5 countries account for over 40% of the global population and nearly a quarter of global GDP. Each member brings unique strengths to the table: Brazil's agricultural dominance, Russia's energy resources, India's growing tech industry, China's manufacturing powerhouse, and South Africa's mining and strategic position. But what unites BRICS is more than just their economic potential. It's their shared dissatisfaction with the current system. Many of these nations have faced economic instability due to their reliance on the dollar. For instance, when the US Federal Reserve raises interest rates to combat inflation, it strengthens the dollar, making debts denominated in dollars more expensive for other countries. This often leads to capital outflows from emerging markets, causing currency devaluations and financial crises. Russia's experience highlights another critical issue: sanctions. When Russia faced sweeping sanctions after its actions in Ukraine, it was effectively locked out of the dollar-based financial system. This spurred Russia to seek alternatives, such as conducting trade with China in their local currencies. The BRICS nations argue that a more diversified financial system would reduce such vulnerabilities and create a fairer global economic order. One of the boldest ideas proposed by BRICS is the creation of a new shared currency. Imagine a scenario where Brazil and China trade soybeans and electronics using a BRICS-backed currency instead of the dollar. Such a currency could be backed by a basket of commodities or a mix of the members' currencies, providing stability and reducing dependency on any single nation. But how realistic is this idea? Economists are divided. Jim O'Neill, the economist who coined the term BRIC in 2001, sees the group's potential but acknowledges significant hurdles. A shared currency would require aligning monetary policies, building trust, and ensuring economic stability across all members. And here's where the challenge lies. BRICS nations are incredibly diverse. China, for instance, is the largest economy in the group, contributing more than 70% of BRICS' combined GDP. Its economic clout gives it outsized influence, but this dominance might not sit well with other members. India, which values its strategic independence, has its own reservations about China's ambitions, especially given their ongoing border disputes. Brazil and South Africa, while influential regionally, have smaller economies and may fear being overshadowed in such an arrangement. Despite these challenges, BRICS has made notable progress in laying the groundwork for financial cooperation. The new development bank, NDB, established in 2015 by BRICS, serves as an alternative to Western-dominated institutions like the International Monetary Fund, IMF, and the World Bank. The NDB provides funding for infrastructure and development projects in member countries denominated in local currencies rather than dollars. This reduces their reliance on the greenback and strengthens their financial autonomy. China, in particular, has been proactive in challenging the dollar's dominance. The Chinese yuan, also known as the renminbi, has been steadily gaining traction in international trade. Through initiatives like the Belt and Road Initiative, China has encouraged participating countries to use the yuan for infrastructure projects and trade. It has also signed currency swap agreements with several nations, enabling them to trade directly in yuan rather than converting to dollars. Russia, too, has taken significant steps to move away from the dollar. Following Western sanctions, Russia has increased its gold reserves and conducted a growing share of its trade with China in yuan. In 2022, the yuan overtook the dollar as the most traded foreign currency in Russia. While these efforts are noteworthy, the road to dethroning the dollar is far from straightforward. The US dollar's dominance isn't just about economic size, it's about trust. Investors and nations around the world trust the stability of US institutions, the rule of law, and the liquidity of its financial markets. A BRICS currency or even increased reliance on national currencies like the yuan would need to build similar levels of trust, which is no small feat. Moreover, the dollar's entrenchment in global trade creates inertia. For decades, oil and other critical commodities have been traded exclusively in dollars. This petrodollar system has created a feedback loop where countries accumulate dollars to facilitate trade, further reinforcing its dominance. But change is in the air. Saudi Arabia, a key player in the petrodollar system, has signaled openness to trading oil in currencies other than the dollar. This shift, if realized, could significantly weaken the dollar's grip on global trade and accelerate the rise of alternatives like a BRICS currency. The implications of such a shift are enormous. For the US, reduced dollar dominance would mean losing its exorbitant privilege. The US has been able to run persistent trade deficits and borrow at lower costs because of the dollar's global demand. A decline in this demand could weaken the dollar's value, increase borrowing costs, and erode the US's ability to influence global policies through economic tools. Whether they succeed in creating a viable alternative or merely spark incremental changes, one thing is certain: the age of unquestioned dollar dominance is being re-examined.